Hi guys, this is Aaron Etheridge, lead designer for Planar Conquest, and this is the first in a series of short tutorials that we're doing to help new players get into the game. This first tutorial is going to cover starting a new game. The first thing we're going to want to do is click single player, then new game. The first screen we're going to encounter is the planes screen. Hovering over the icon for each plane will give you a brief description of that plane as well as what benefits and detriments it has. You can click the icon to add planes to the game. Each one of them you can set the terrain type ranging from Pangea to islands, and the amount of land coverage, which is the land to liquid ratio, water in the case of prime, lava in the case of fire, etc., etc. We're going to leave this at 1 because I want to show you something on the next screen. One little thing I want to note before we do move on is that this question mark icon, whenever you see it, you can bring up more information about what you're looking at. The next screen is the game screen, which allows you to change all the game settings, such as difficulty, and I would suggest you turn that down unless you are already very skilled at 4X games. World size. Alright, right now we're playing with a single plane, and it's a medium size, which we can only have 2 opponents. Alright, if we turn that up, we can have more opponents. Now, this is total land mass, and the reason that matters is, okay, say we want a medium map, or even a normal map, we can go back and turn on several different planes and add more opponents. Alright, so we can control the size of each plane and which planes are actually included in the game. Alright, the rest of these I'm not going to go through. They're very self-explanatory and they have a tooltip. The next screen is faction, and this in most cases applies more to the early game than the late game, with the exception of the Unhallowed. Alright, the Unhallowed are the undead. They do not work with the other races, and selecting them is going to give you a completely different gameplay experience throughout the game. Any of the other races, you select them as you play through. You can conquer neutral cities, enemy cities, and add more races to your lineup and sort of round out your armies and things like that. So most of the races, this is really an early game selection, what you want to start with. With the Unhallowed, this is a game changer, so keep that in mind. Here you can set your flag color. The next is creating your sorcerer. For your first few games, I recommend using a pre-made lord. It'll get you in and let you play very, very quickly without having to worry about things. They're all good builds. But for this tutorial, we're actually going to do create your own. The first thing we're going to do is select a portrait, which I like Merlin, and there he is, and give ourselves a name, an accurate name. Okay. Next is where you're going to spend your points for character creation. All right, this screen defines your Sorcerer Lord and is absolutely going to have a massive effect on your entire gameplay experience. So it's important to get what you want here. There are obviously a number of different viable builds, many viable builds, but it's going to change how you play the game. First, we're going to look at the disciplines panel, just because it's a little simpler. Here you have a number of things that affect your Sorcerer Lord in one way or another. They all have tooltips. We're not going to go through them. An important note is that you have negative disciplines that you can take. You have 12 character points. If you take something like Prude, you get 14. So you can pick negatives that you're willing to deal with in order to get more positives. Some of these are locked. All right, like Fire Mastery requires 9 fire. So if we get 9 fire, we unlock it. Okay, and we can be a Fire Master. One thing that's very important to explain about these circles is from mentalism to destruction. These are what are called effects circles. They sort spells according to effect. From fire to life are elemental circles. They sort spells according to element. That is very important because each spell has both an element and an effect. Take something like Flame Arrow. Alright, that is fire and destruction. Alright, and these stack. So Fireball is a perfect example. It's fire destruction, and it's tier 3. So if you take 2 in fire and 1 in destruction, Fireball may appear in your potential spell list that you can research later. Alright, needless to say, what circles you pick are as that defines your potential spell list, it creates utterly game-changing effects. And so, like an interesting build is to take, 6 in an elemental, or an effect circle rather, and then 3 in 2 different elemental circles, because what this will do, since these stack, is you'll get the first 6 tiers of destruction, the first 3 tiers of fire, the first 3 tiers of water, and you'll get tiers 7, 8, and 9 in fire destruction, and 7, 8, and 9 in water destruction. Okay, this is rather complex, and you're going to have to actually jump in and play around with it before you really get the feel for it. But that's what's going on the screen. All right, then we have to pick our starting spells. All right, now if you look here, fire we get 3 tier 1. Water we get 3 tier 1. We had 3 circles in each of those. Destruction we get 6 tier 1 because we had 6 circles. Now if we went higher, 7, 8, 9, we'd unlock some tier 2s. We'd unlock 1 tier 3 if we got mastery. Alright, it's also important to note, just like I said, flame arrow, alright, that's a fire spell and a destruction spell. So we picked it as one of our fire spells, and it's already selected as a destruction spell. Alright, and same thing with the water spell, Ice Bolt. Alright, so the way these circles stack is very, very crucial, and it's really going to change your potential spell list, and spells are a major part of Planar Conquest. So that build at the beginning, it's really critical to how you're going to play the game, which is why I recommend that you go with a pre-made Sorcerer Lord. Once you've done that a couple of times, I think you'll be able to get in and create custom Sorcerer Lords that are really exactly what you want and give you an edge based on your playstyle. That's obviously going to vary from player to player, but there is enough for pretty much everybody to find something that they're looking for. Obviously, I should have mentioned that when you hover over these spells, you get the spell description. And these are just your starting spells. You'll research more when you get in game, but we'll get to that in the next tutorial. So this is, right now we could click start game and we're ready to go. I hope that's gotten you through the new game process. So I look forward to speaking to you again in the next tutorial.